Welcome to the Patch Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is presented by Freedom Fueled. I'm your host, Spencer Conrad, with my co-host, Hannah Conrad.
Hello.
And this is just kind of episode one. Apologies if we sound awkward because we've never done this before. We both have labor-intensive jobs, and we work 8, 10, 12 hours on a bad day. So we listen to a ton of podcasts and music so that, our brains don't explode. And so we just kind of like the media and like the format. And we're clearly passionate about patches. And so we didn't really see patch podcasts or anything like that. So we said, screw it, we'll throw our hat in the ring and see how it goes. Anyway, as self-indulgent as it sounds, we wanted to start with episode 1 of kind of our origin and our journey of what we've been doing this. Quick timeline, we've been doing patches for 2.5 years. I started it 2.5 years ago, and then I started it right about the time we started dating. We dated for a year, and then we got engaged for 6 months, and then we've been married a year in August. And Hannah didn't really come on board as far as the business aspect until about a year ago. So as long as timeline goes, that first year and a half, it was more of a hobby side hustle. And then when she came on, she really helped bring it into a business platform. So kind of the summarized version of how we started is I've been playing airsoft for years. If you guys don't know what airsoft is, I'm going to save you the time of explaining to it. It's plastic BBs and it's gun replicas, and we look like soldiers. Personalized your uniform is you wear patches, and I don't know where this bug came from, but I just got hooked on them. Something about them popped. If you've ever met me or you've done anything with me, I'm quite flamboyant. So nothing says camo jumpsuit for tactical, stealth like a bright ass red patch that says "hit me" on it. So anyway, I like patches. That's how it got started. And another huge thing is I'm a huge Captain America nerd. And so I kind of was looking for Captain America patches, couldn't really find anything. So I reached out in the community to someone who makes custom patches. And I got hooked up with a guy who did embroidery. And so I sent him a design, and I said, can you make this for me? And he said no. He could make 12 of them. And I said, I only need 2. And he's like, well, I can only sell you 12. And so I said, okay, that's fine. I'll keep 1 or 2 for myself and try and sell the other 10. Right? And so the day comes in, I get all 12 in, I keep 1 or 2 for myself, so I have 10 left. I post it on Facebook, show some of my buddies, and that weekend I sell out. Sold all of them. And my little entrepreneurial brain just went ping and said, let's do this again. So that's kind of how I got started. Was I was making patches for myself. And now, as we get into the community and we learn, this is the shameful part of the story. But how I started was I pulled images off Google. I pulled them off Google already stuff. I can't draw worth a damn. So I would just find other artwork, and maybe I'd Photoshop it a little bit, but some were just straight up send him the image that I downloaded, and he would just patchify it, right? So that's kind of how I started. I did that and a lot of custom work, and so I was doing a handful of stock patches that I would sell at the local field, and primarily custom work for that first year and a half. And things kind of lulled in the business. So we live in Michigan, and Michigan between 4 and 6 months out of the year sucks. It's just shit for weather. It's cold, it's rainy, it's snowy. I don't like the cold, so I don't know why the hell I live here. But that's Michigan. There's not a lot of indoor fields for the airsoft community, so we all kind of hibernate. So in the summer it's good, we have a blast, but when, winter comes, we're all bitches and we stay in our house. So as far as patches go, especially tied to the airsoft community, you have that 3 to 6 month window to kind of get all your custom work done, and then just done. And at this time, I didn't really know about a patch community thing. I only knew about morale patches. I didn't know that you could collect them or that there was collectible patches and all of that jazz.
So getting out of the winter, going back into season, it was slow, and that's where he started questioning, like, is this something I want to continue doing? Is this something worth pursuing still, or should we let it, quote unquote, die? Um, I could see him struggling with it, and he was going back and forth. And I really didn't want him to stop because I know how much it brings him joy, you know? So we, I don't know how it exactly came about, but we found an event over, it was Ice Pick. So we were invited, or we found it, or somehow. And so then we went there. It was our first event. It was down in Indiana, I believe.
It was early March, 20 degrees.
Oh my gosh, it was so cold.
We had nothing. We had a custom flag with our logo that we made, and so we went and dropped $100 at Walmart and got a cheap ass tent and a couple chairs and tables, and voila, we had a booth.
We set up shop. We had some of our old equipment because we were getting out of airsoft, at least for a moment, time being. So, we had some guns out there, we had some patches out there, and a little bit of gear. So we went there. We were like, don't know how this is going to go, but, I think this is the next step. And if we're going to make this patch thing happen, this is our next step. So we went there, and while we were there, we met a lot of great people. We were sitting there because we weren't playing. So a lot of them took pity on us and gave us some hot drinks and some things to keep us warm. It was actually really nice. But anyway, along the way, we met Poppins. So Poppins is a patch maker as well, and he had a booth right next to ours. So while he was off of the field, we were chatting him up and asking him different questions because, we were still new to it and we didn't know very much at the time. We still don't. We're still learning, obviously, but we got to pick his brain a lot, and so he gave us some information and we started growing from there. That really kind of set us off, The event went really well, better than we expected. And so, we started lining up the next events.
Right, and he was really the one that kind of pointed us in the collectible side. Again, coming from Airsoft, that's all I thought about, morale patches, but we looked at his booth and what he was creating, and collectibles is exactly what he creates. And so we kind of were like, okay, cool. So the natural evolution of the business is we need to attack it on both fronts. We need to attack the morale patch side for events, and we want to be involved in the collectible side too. For the longest time, I was just throwing up pictures on Facebook with some PayPal, DM me, blah, blah, blah. And that works, especially if you're like selling your collection or stuff. But if you want to be a business, it just feels shady after a certain point. Like, private message me for this and then send me money and I'll send you stuff. So we wanted to be more professional, and we knew we needed to make a website. And Poppins was super helpful in that. And after talking to Poppins about a couple different aspects of the website and whatnot, we settled on a Shopify platform. And so we're growing with that, and Shopify comes with its own
learning process.
Yeah, and what that looks like. So we got a website. We're aiming towards collectibles now. As we're aiming towards collectibles, we're still doing events, and we're lining up the next couple, like you were saying. And we were headed to. I think our next event was No, it was Bristol, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, in Wisconsin. And so we went and did Wisconsin, and again, huge home run. That was a amazing weekend. We got to meet a ton of people.
That was the one that, it was pouring the whole weekend, wasn't it?
It was pouring the whole weekend, and it was like 30-mile winds. Saturday was gorgeous. It was like 80 degrees, but Friday night and Saturday were shit.
Yeah. So our $50 canopy that we bought for the first event, it sadly did not make it through that weekend.
Yep.
The wind just tore it apart. By the end of it, we were holding it together with zip ties.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
So we put some upgrades into the events, and we still do events, and we enjoy events. I mean, who doesn't like to get to travel and meet other people and connections and stuff? But as far as the website goes and the collectible side, we had a problem, and that was the fact that we were pulling Google images, and people don't like that. People are not positive for that. People want to
See something they haven't seen before.
well, and support original art, right?
Right.
And so, we never did it to be malicious or anything like that. We were just stupid and didn't know any better. So as we kind of, and another huge shout out to admins of the patch forums we're on. We're in the black market patch community and the patch,
Motivational one.
yeah, and then the patch collectors and those admins. I mean, they'll DM you and they'll just be like, "Hey man, don't do that." And it's not even them being dickheads or anything like that. Like, it's super appreciative. Don't do this. They're very stern yet helpful. They give you a little bit of a grace, and just we're like, okay, so we can't do this anymore. So where do we go now? And so I reached out to a couple friends and stumbled upon an artist because I can't draw worth a damn. And Hannah has more of that artistic eye, but her art's still pretty unrefined. So we needed an artist, a designer, and so we found a guy. He's been doing patches for many years. He knows a lot of stuff, and he draws artwork for patches. So as far as like the format and draw it this way so that the layers and all that jazz line up, super helpful. And he's helped us grow our patches to the quality they are now.
He's really great because if we have an idea of what we want, but we don't know exactly what we're thinking, we can just throw some reference pictures at him, and he comes up with amazing designs. So really a shout out to him.
So, yeah, I mean that's really it. It's kind of taking it up to this point. If you've ever met us or if you've read it on our website, our number one rule is we don't sell shit. And so everything that we make and sell has been put through the test of, is it going to last? Does it work? Does it hold up? Does it look good? Does it feel good? If it feels cheap, we're not interested. And that extensive process takes time, but the fact that we're actually pumping out quality product makes it worth it. We've never had an individual who bought our product and said, refund, give it back, don't like it, no complaints, no nothing.
Yeah.
And we're very intentional on that. But one of the things that we figured out, especially with events and whatnot, is you kind of got to diversify. And so in our diversity, we're branching out into T-shirts, hats, apparel, and stickers. So stickers have been going through the trial run for the last couple weeks, and we finally settled on a manufacturer that we like.
Yep.
And so we're rolling out some designs with those. And then the T-shirt process is still
In process.
in process. We've been trying a couple things, and it's just not where we want it to be to put our name on it. So that's kind of where we're growing and diversifying. And then the other fun thing we do is sponsorships. We sponsor a local team called Screaming Wombats, and they go play at events and they host some events. So we get to be involved with some local events and meet people through there. And then we have our player that we sponsor. So his name's Barefoot. He's over on Instagram, and there'll be links to a bunch of these guys in the description. So go follow and check them out. But
He's got some amazing videos of him playing, so definitely recommend watching those.
yeah, he's an airsofter, so going back to where we started and keeping an involvement in that. And then this, is a new media platform that we, got involved in, and hopefully it does well. We do have some topics that are more relevant than ourselves in the next few episodes. But if you guys have something you'd like to hear, or you have some feedback, comment, share with us. We'd love this to grow. And
Yeah, and also if you have anybody that you would want to maybe hear speaking on the show, you could totally tag them, link them, whatnot. Whether that be creators of patches or just collectors. If you know somebody that really loves patches and wants to talk about them, we'd love to have them. So definitely tag us to them.
but other than that, I think we're gonna wrap this episode up. That's the short story of us. So, like I said, Freedom Field's been a thing for 2.5 years, and it's I'm the guy who kind of started it, and it's just such a fun journey to watch my baby grow, and we're still in the toddler phase of learning to walk and growing, and we got a fair amount of connections that just help us and stuff like that. So we're excited. We're involved with the community. We like dropping stuff. We like collecting stuff. Good Lord, collecting. That's a rabbit hole in itself. That'll be saved for another episode. But we love to be creators. We love to be collectors. And we love to be involved in the community. But without further ado,
I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And we'll be dropping episodes weekly. The plan is Tuesdays. So, yeah, check back with us next Tuesday. Thanks, guys.